ban out the weird, crazy champions that they are not used to playing, and then don't die at level 1. That was the other thing their coach was harping on.
So a little bit of power and a little bit of unpredictability that can obviously get around a Pantheon in the game, but they don't want to have to deal with it. The way that Curse was initiating from distance, we saw the globals kind of coming back yesterday, and it was pretty cool.
The use of globals has been really, really important in this first week of the LCS, and I do like these 2 jungle bans focus on I Will Dominate, because Curse banned out Elise. It frees up TSM to ban the other 2 interesting champions that he has used, and it's going to force him onto something.
It's a good point. Very jungle-focused game for the bans here for both teams. Does look like Z-Kent wants that Annie. He's been put in some bad situations himself that he's been able to overcome. So we've seen him kind of tried and tested already in the LCS, and he's done well. Yeah,
and so since he pointed out that his New Year's resolution is to steal away a pentakill, that means somebody else on his team is going to have to at least get a quadra to get to that point. And he's going to have to set up Cop. It'll probably be Cop that he's trying to get for that situation, because Cop's been playing Caitlyn over and over and over. When you first pick an Annie, though, it seems like they probably want to go with an aggressive AD carry, a little bit more, something like Jinx or Lucian, that they can get those kills if Annie gets a stun off to set something up.
Well, Turtle, also a Caitlyn player. His first game with Team SoloMid, they set him up a pentakill in that bottom lane. So I would see that taking away from Cop could be useful for him, but it's not anything that they want right now. They want to show their hand at support and in that top lane.
Well, this is the classic front line that TSM have been really liking on this patch. They get the Olaf and the Shyvana that can just dive right to the back line, and Leona has the long-range engages that she can start off this team fight. Then they've been looking for some other source of speed boost, usually to combo with this team, either picking up a champion like Sivir or Karma, and then the other option is just building that item, going with the Talisman of Ascension, which means that Leona would have to build some tankiness somewhere else, because not going to be starting with the Targons if she does go for the Talisman.
It looks like they may actually switch up here, not having the Pantheon, not having everything they can initiate long range with. They keep it close, not super close. They're going to pick Lucian in.
So yeah, that would be the aggressive AD carry would be the change for Cop going off of the Caitlyn, but works really well with Annie because he is a lane bully himself, and he can gap close to get up with Annie's initiation and capitalize on it in lane. Meanwhile, the Wukong has been successful for I Will Dominate. That's how they got in to the LCS.
This is a pretty crazy team coming in from Team SoloMid. Obviously, everybody's been saying the LeBlanc isn't unorthodox anymore in that pick, but like you said, the Sivir pickup with the Olaf, they have the Shyvana, and even if Leona's Ascension doesn't get him in, they're going to have to
exactly. So he doesn't have to build, go with the coin. That means Leona is free to build either a Doran's or start off with the Targons and try and shove their lane early. Tanky Leona, that's going to be great. They're going to have the speed boost from Sivir, so everybody's going to go wild towards the back line, but LeBlanc we have to pretty much just pick out as a Bjergsen special here. He's had so much success on it. Why not return to this in the mid lane? He's got the single target focus, and he can get silences down on single members of Curse if he can pick them off before the fight starts.
A little bit of AoE stacking damage would be here. That Hemoplague would definitely help a Cyclone coming in from Wukong and from Mundo. We'll see as they trade off and on. Team SoloMid, with the way Reggie was talking, and it didn't make it sound like there was anything huge Team SoloMid had, like Hotshot was saying we have something in our sleeve. So they really seem like they're going back to wheelhouse strategies. Bring it into the game, knowing you're going to win strong lanes and adapt as it goes. And that worked for TSM for the first few seasons.
Yeah, I mean, they did use this pretty much exact strategy, very similar yesterday, going with all these bruisers that are going to get sped up. But Curse, they've sort of countered it with this AoE heavy team fighting that they're going to try and pull off. If Annie can set up a stun or Wukong can set it up, either one of them can capitalize on the other's area of effect stun, and that could be a very good combo for them. Also worth mentioning, once again, we have the Shyvana versus Mundo. Shyvana almost always opting to take Ignite so she can cut through his health regen, so he frees him up to have the global advantage with Teleport.
We'll see what the Blade build or the Sunfire build for him. If he tries to go hard, if he tries to go soft. Nobody goes soft in the LCS. As the teams load into the game, though, I am going to make a prediction right now. I think that the fans might call this one for Team SoloMid. It's just a hunch, but let's check it out. According to LOLesports.com, 80% of you think that TSM will cut on top.
Kev got a lot of fans.
Start off the week with a right prediction. Look at that. Well, at least Sunday starts the week, not LCS.
Even Crepo said he was a fan, so he might have voted for them too.
Wow. I don't have internet in here, then, so they can't.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to get reception in here.
Absolutely.
What are you running on here, huh?
Yeah.
T-Mobile?
Getting all my votes in. So as we match up into this game, I like the composition from Curse, the fact that they like to go back to Wukong. It's still something that other teams aren't really picking up, at least in the competitive play on the stage. We've heard some people have scrimmed with it. But as Curse likes to use it, I think it opens up more for their compositions.
They're definitely a team that's more confident in using these picks that nobody else is using. They don't care if other players aren't really supporting that in competitive play. And I think that actually does have a lot to do with the coaching staff that they have. Liquid and St. Vicious, both pretty open-minded as far as new picks are concerned.
Let's keep in mind, we kind of saw this matchup last game in the mid lane, that Riven LeBlanc. It didn't go so well, so we'll have to see how that
not
fares.
so well for Pobelter in the last one, did it?
So it's kind of Voyboy may have that taken in the back of his head. Obviously, he's coming into this game knowing he's got to play his own way and his own tactics. We'll see if he does do it differently. A lot of teams have been putting the AD carry mid, especially the TSM does it, and he kind of stands. And you don't know if they're going top or bottom because everybody's waiting on these trinkets to come up.
Yeah, if you don't have your solo laner go into the mid for the dance-off, then it sort of keeps the other team guessing.
It's a slight
you know
factor.
who's going to be there. But pretty much we expected TSM to come out with this strategy for level 1 because Reggie tipped us off. They just don't want to die level 1. Nothing sneaky. They want to play standard. So looking forward, that's probably going to be, yes, we have Shyvana. Shyvana should win early versus Mundo. All right, top lane's good. All right. Moving down to mid lane, we've got LeBlanc into Riven. Just saw how that turns out, but Belter did not have a good time. So Bjergsen should be able to make some pretty nice work of Voyboy. All right, mid lane's taken care of. Now the bottom lane, we pick Sivir for a team composition pick. That's not actually for the lane matchup there. It's more for the speed up for the late game. So that one might need a little bit of jungle attention to make sure that they keep up with the other two lanes. So we'll have to see if the odd one on his Olaf does make his early visits down bottom, or if he tries to get one of these solo lanes even further ahead.
And this also calls back to a little bit of what Coast just used, trying to come out with the Olaf to go mid is LeBlanc roams, as Jat was saying.
Another thing that you can do with if you're a jungler and you have multiple winning lanes is not even go to your lane that you're worried about. Just go to the lane that's already winning, because there's only two options that can happen. You go to the lane and the other jungler does not show up, you're going to get your gank off, you're going to get either a summoner or a kill. But if you go to the lane and the other jungler does show up, if you're in the winning lane, you have the advantage still. So it's a win-win.
Whoa, Zcat blows his stun right away. I don't think Special wanted all of that. They trade back and forth real quick. I thought they were going hard.
They were going for the early level 2. We have the Targon start here on Leona, but they were still pushed off of the wave. So even though Leona has the extra pushing power of those executes, they weren't able to get the early level 2. And this Cop and Zekant team do have a slight upper hand now as they're shoving into the wave early. That does mean that they'll be further up, though, for that odd one gank that might happen down bottom.
We see Dominate and Odd One both pretty much equal on mirrored sides of the jungle. And in the mid lane, that's already a bit of a CS lead, at least off the first wave. So Voyboy was having trouble. He had to take shield first, and you obviously would to mitigate that damage, because Bjergsen, as Reginald did, plays super aggressive.
Yeah, Bjergsen definitely an aggro player. Voyboy, though, he should be okay. He's actually started with a shield here just to reduce auto attacks, because a lot of the early harass from LeBlanc is in those extra auto attacks that she can get off. Bjergsen has been running hybrid penetration reds.
A lot of focus being put there already. They probably knew they weren't going to get a full kill, but they wanted to at least pressure Bjergsen there.
A little bit. I mean, they get off 100 health there. Semi-successful gank, I guess. He didn't lose out much, but he immediately returns to his jungle. You can see he does not want to fall any further behind the odd one. Doesn't want to show odd one where he is on the map, or it will free him up to go for the confident gank. that we're talking about real early. Now, this Trinket Ward will see him, but it might be too late. Xpecial's going in for the stun.
He is going very hard. Odd1 predicting after that path of Dominate going out of mid, and he predicts correctly. He gets caught by himself with Xpecial and the team down bottom. Oh, he throws it. The sun must have been in his eyes. Now he tries to get out. He does not want to give Double Bus over to this lane.
So close right there. That could have been the first blood quite easily. The gank that we expected to happen did play out, but just not quite able to capitalize on it. I mean, it was a really good start, too. Xpecial moves up, gets positioning on the AD carry. Almost the dream gank right there, but just not quite enough.
That was like a this is too good to be true panic. And then you kind of just mess it up. Coming up onto 5 minutes, Odd1 and Dominate already trying to put a stamp on these lanes, but they return to the jungle. Dominate sees that bottom lane open. He soaks up the experience.
You know, the Odd1, after he missed that axe too, he did pop his ghost here to get away, since Dominate came in for the counter cleanup. So that is a summoner down on the Olaf, and his next gank will be a little bit less potent.
Bjergsen really trying to fast wave clear here. You see 3 into the broken wings of Voyboy as he tries to get his damage down, but Bjergsen, just with the chains, he's going to be able to stay safe. As we look around, it looks like Dyrus is having a pretty good time in the top lane, 39-33. They both have gone shields, but Dyrus is still sitting on that potion, so even a gank may not take him down. He's having a good time against Quas.
Yeah, as we saw before, the Shyvana early can push around the Mundo quite a bit. Ooh, chain does miss. Especially since he has that combat summoner advantage over the teleport Mundo. Pretty much all the kill potential for that lane is in Shyvana's hands. And the only way to turn that around would be a successful jungle gank from Wukong.
Hop and Zkent doing what they can. Nobody's really behind in any of these lanes just yet. Those ganks from the junglers have given a little bit of a scare, but everybody still has flashes up. Everybody's ready to engage. Actually, Cop's flash is down, so we may see a little bit of jungle presence towards the bottom lane.
And even if they did have some jungle presence down there from Dominate, you know, Sivir is a really good pick against Annie because she has that spell shield.
Right.
The only really spell that you're going to be worried about is the stun from Annie. And as long as you block that one, then you won't get caught up in the full combo from the Lucian. It's just going to be up to Wild Turtle and see if he has quick enough reactions.
So level 5 coming up on pretty much everybody in the bottom lane here. We just see Xpecial hit it. Wild Turtle's going to be very soon after. They're not really trading too much with that relic as well either. Yeah, so not too much gold coming from that for Xpecial just yet. They're hoping to capitalize on this level 6 though.
So the changes when, you know, relics first came out, they were super popular because it was only 30-second cooldown and everybody was buying them. But now it's only the melees get to execute, and before you upgrade it, the cooldown on the extra charges is a little bit longer, well, twice as long.
Yeah.
So they're usually trying to upgrade those as quickly as possible.
Back to the red buffs for the junglers, so this means they may have that presence back in lane. The ganks are going to be a bit easier, because you look at these lanes too, and everyone kind of has either a slight gap closer or a way to pop an ultimate and really get out with the crowd control reduction.
This is classic Shyvana. We've talked about it so many times where shove in the Mundo.
Starting to get back.
You proxy the wave. The point of proxying the wave is that you're close to the jungle camp so you can then take an extra amount of gold. It's actually even a little bit better when you're on this blue side because double golems are worth way more than either Wraiths or Wolves. And Dyrus is pretty happy here to get the wave, and then we'll see if he rotates down for those golems.
So this is kind of like free farm for him, though. What does Dominate have to really do anything to take action?
I mean, he's looking for his level 6, which he just got, and it's going to be an interesting choice where he wants to use his ultimate, because that's all he has to turn around.
Tries to get the dash out. Cop gets a full boomerang blade to the face. They're going to be able to trade back a bit of damage, but that was a pretty good lane advantage there, grabbed by TSM.
So we don't have Dyrus taking the double golems, but he did spot out Wukong. And if he makes that call, Wukong is top. Boom. It opens up the bottom lane for aggression. They can easily go for those Leona engages once they know Wukong won't be there, because he's a huge, huge counter-ganking threat for that bottom lane. He can come in invisible and pop his ultimate to knock both members up. Looks like that's what he's trying to do right now.
Yeah, slowly but patiently hanging out on the side of the lane. I think Cop might put himself in somewhat of a bad spot, but TSM would see that, and they'd say, we don't want to bite. We don't want to bite too hard. Bjergsen with that ward just over Wraiths, it really actually helping out Dyrus a lot to that top lane, because Dyrus had placed a ward that just died at red, and they're super comfortable in all their movements right now.
Both junglers doing their visitations bottom. I guess Odd One right now is thinking that there will be a counter gank here. Because a dive would still be very dangerous. Annie already has her stun charged, and she's now level 6. Diving on the post-level 6 Annie with a stun proc is a very dangerous situation, and I think he might be disappointed that there's no gank from Wukong, and probably just wasted a little bit of time there.
Level 6s on both the duo lanes. We actually have, I believe, Cop just backing. He's going to go for the Triforce first build. He picks up the Phage. Dyrus once again going back behind Quaz, and there's really been nothing to stop these guys in the top lane, but the CS isn't that far apart.
You're right. You don't gain a whole bunch from proxying the wave if you're not picking up those double golems on respawn. What he's really trying to get out of that was jungle vision, and he finally does get the golems, and he's also dropped that deep ward. So the next thing he is looking for is, again, the ping tipping off his bottom lane that he has brought the jungler up top, and they're free to go aggressive.
We'll have to see now. Bjergsen picking up boots too. He goes for the Sork right away, and he gets a Fiendish Codex. So they're going to start the transition of Olaf to the middle in LeBlanc, because Bjergsen hasn't roamed too much yet.
Not yet. He has maxed the W again, so he does have good minion wave control. But he hasn't had the early lead over Voidboy. They're pretty much neck and neck here. Only a few, well, I guess 10 minions is pretty decent.
It'll work for now. You got to consider he also has, or at least in the bottom lane, they're getting a little bit of a lead there, but it's only by a few. So everybody's sticking close, and that's how we like it. Anybody's game as we move into now. Well, 11 minutes in, the gold lead, as you were saying, a little bit in favor of Team SoloMid, but we'll have to see if the Dragon really creates a stretch for that, and then it gives anybody the upper hand.
Yeah, so the reason it's going so slow like this is, like I said at the beginning, the lanes for TSM were all pretty much winning here. The solo lanes talked about, they should win these matchups, and they have done pretty much. It's played out as expected. Now we're getting to the point where the ward coverage is what's going to make the big difference in these games, because LeBlanc, Bjergsen, is opening up on Voidboy.
He is very much so opening up. The cooldown's not yet there for him, but you can see completely pushed out of lane, calling down Dyrus here, and he's been in the jungle, and having him back behind that really gives him good movement.
Right. These laners that are winning so hard are shoving up their lanes and then trying to rotate around to move here. So this is where the ward coverage I just talked about is coming into play. TSM, since they have the winning lanes and have warded up deep in Curse's jungle, they claim the dragon. It's pretty much theirs. Curse knows it, and they were not going to venture over there to contest.
I don't think they're going to get much damage on this top turret, if any has even been posed to it, because great movement by Dyrus transitioning back to the top lane. TSM really a step ahead in everything right now.
And we do have the early Blade of the Ruined King build here coming from Dyrus. He's got the Cutlass already, so it's around that time where Quas will have to start worrying about that aggression, see if Dyrus decides to go for anything very deep here. His Ignite is up, so he'll be able to cut down on that healing regeneration. I'll just have to see, now that the dragon is down, TSM, they're basically just looking to avoid a disastrous gank from Dominate. Right. If Dominate cannot get off a good Wukong ult on one of these lanes, then TSM is going to continue to slowly increase their lead and just slowly gain more and more of a gold advantage.
And that's something you can't give Team SoloMid, that kind of momentum. Once they hold it, it's kind of like Bjergsen just takes the driver's seat of an F-16 and it's over.
All right, so he has shoved the wave once again. Now he's going to look to roam because he's got ward coverage around the mid lane, and I'd actually start to expect some sweepers coming out from TSM, because that's how you turn this slow gold lead into a large gold lead. You use the sweepers to clear out vision and make those roaming plays on one of the side lanes so you can grab an objective like a turret instead of just getting these soft leads here from minion waves.
So we actually have this swap. Voidboy can't really build the magic resistance that he needs to fight on Bjergsen, so they swap the lanes out.
Interesting call right there. Bringing Quas down. You're right. He has that Spectral Cowl. He's probably going for an early Spirit Visage. So they pull the first call to swap, but TSM are instantly reacting.
Oh, and there's an instant reaction. The Cyclone comes out. Turtle goes away. The Ignite takes him down with the culling. That first blood goes to Zkent. Xpecial throws down the Solar Flare and flashes away with a roam up top from Bjergsen before this fight happened. Hits up Voyboy. He tried to get away. He will this time, but Bjergsen finds him in another lane.
So the TSM reaction to that swap was to send Bjergsen on the roam path and have their jungler cover mid. But vision of the jungler mid means that Dominate can go all out in the bottom lane. He ganks the duo as we expected. They pick up the first blood there because he did get his successful Wukong ultimate off there. And they also can chain it into not only one turret, but some extra turret damage on the secondary.
Getting a good aggressive win on that bottom has given them the upper hand here, taking it down to about 25%. Xpecial, pretty tanky. He already has the Sightstone finish, so he's got the HP to hold off that bit of burst. They're stealing out Reds.
See, the vision control is still in TSM's favor, so Voyboy.
Oh, dear. Voyboy still. Everybody is just on his back this game, watching him the past few days on that Akali and what he's been playing. Oh, Voyboy, 250 HP left. It's going to be a slow one, but he's going to go.
Dyrus with the flash to finish that one off, actually. He's getting tired of Voyboy walking around.
The worst part about these two is he keeps coming back. He's not able to get much gold, so he's going back with nothing to buy, maybe another potion, and then he comes back to lane, being very stalled out on their items, Curses.
Down bottom, you know, the CS discrepancy between the AD carries is more than made up for by Xpecial's Targons. He's actually shared over 500 gold with that, 560
nice
already.
Guy. 1-to-1 in turrets. You'll see them dropped in the top and the bottom lane respectively, and it looks like Voyboy will tend to mid once again. They said if we go top lane, we're just going to be a catalyst to the roam for LeBlanc.
And TSM's going to want to keep up that roam.
Yeah.
That's why I always like to see the switch out of the talismans on the mid lane assassins that roam around. I would love a sweeper on Bjergsen, but he has kept with the trinket ward, and he's going to go for the kill under turret.
Oh my gosh, he has a W coming up. He actually grabs it. I didn't think he had anything of what he needed in that second spell reel to come up, but he knew exactly what he was doing.
Well, that's why people have opened up to using their ultimate on the chain for LeBlanc, because it will still have the full effectiveness even if you haven't leveled up. It's only level 1 chain, but if you use the ult one, then it's going to have the full power there, and he was confident to get the kill under the turrets. Didn't even have to roam for that one. Now he's going to turn his eyes towards bottom since they've created that advantage already mid.
Yeah, LeBlanc getting the 1v1 just opens up too much of the map for her. Zkent's going to be the focus on this one, and you still have Bjergsen, but Dominate comes in on the clone. Can he get Turtle? Flashes on. They will be able to capitalize on that kill. Ooh, look out, Bjergsen found in the wrong spot. Quaz has come into the fight on teleport as well just a bit ago. They get a double kill going in for Dominate as that goes down, and it looks like, oh, Xpecial gets hit with a cleaver. Great job by Quaz. Can they continue to follow up? A bad spot, and the W is enough of the percent burst to take him down. Let's see if Quaz can really do what he needs to here. The blue buff has worn off of Bjergsen, so he is hoping for that W to come up once again.
Oh, the juke!
Oh, he juked it out! He'll be able to get past the Xpecial. Is it up? Can he get the dodge? And Bjergsen flashes. That is incredible.
That's funny that he pulled this juke against the Wukong, because that is originally a Wukong special juke. You just press
taste to your own medicine.
Exactly. All right, so let's look at how it started out. Zkent gets a good double stun from the bush here, but he's going to go down anyway because they got caught. Bjergsen was behind, so he was not able to join in this counterattack. He had to use his W to jump over the wall, even to get in range. And the teleport by Quas was a brilliant teleport. It should, by all rights, get them 2 kills as he flashes for the slow and Xpecial. But Bjergsen, waiting in the bush from the Fog of War, goes for the assassination onto Cop. And R's his Q, because he can activate the second Q with his W and gets the full damage there. Then we do miss out on the clone juke, but usually the clone is the thing that stands still, or it used to be for it was patched, and the player is the one that's going to go running off. So he does an immediate press S to stop, and his clone goes running, so everybody's chasing after the clone, which is usually something that Wukong does.
That's really an amazing bit of mechanics as well. It's something you don't come across quite a bit, so you have to hit it every time it does happen.
And it's interesting because it really works on older players that played with the old LeBlanc clone that would always just stand still.
almost plays against you. So 28.5 to 25.8. Game's slowing down here as we look at Dragon, but it is about to speed up very fast. 19 minutes in, it's 4-3. I'm sure we're going to see a few more kills here after this, unless they both have a gentleman's agreement and just ward each other out of position.
It's going to be a really dangerous Dragon fight here. Curse are definitely posturing like they want to contest it. Ziken gets caught.
Whoa, they throw in the Solar Flare, missed that. Tibbers is down, and Tibbers is down. Ziken goes down first once again in the fight. Dominate, however, always able to answer with a Cyclone, and he kicks out of it. Gets a good kill coming in at Dyrus as well. Curse doesn't necessarily want the Dragon, and they just want to run away from this fight. Dominate's clone gets hit up. They do get the stun on that as well, so Special's just going to be chasing.
All right, so the extra kill here for Curse, but extra health on TSM. So they're the ones shoving up this mid lane. Oh, Bjergsen's going to go get that giant pile of red money up top. That's blood money. They had to lose the odd one in Dyrus for that. So this is going to be easy transition actually for Curse since they saw Bjergsen go up to the top. Even though there's a pink ward here for TSM, they have everyone respawn from the fight, and no 3-0 LeBlanc in the area for TSM is a really good call by Curse. They make the objective count after the fight, even though they weren't able to chain it immediately. It was the rotation from Bjergsen up top that allowed Curse to go for that call.
So we got 26-20-ish around your next Dragon. You do see that Bjergsen a little bit ago, probably 5-6 minutes, did finish that Deathfire Grass for himself. So he only becomes more dangerous. Really backed off of that objective quite hard by Curse. So I guess Curse is feeling a little bit more confident about their skill set right now.
Well, it was interesting in Champion Select. I was like, yeah, both these teams are like really good team fighting teams because they've got area effect on this side and then they've got sped up bruisers on TSM side.
Right.
We just saw the clash of these two team fights from both of these compositions, and Curse were the ones who came out the victors because it was a good AoE ultimate there from Dominate. Even though Zekken got caught out, he was able to get his Tibbers off. That's what you want from your support Annie. As long as she gets her AoE stuns off, job well done, and they were able to capitalize.
It was a pretty big miss as well, like Special kind of throwing out the Solar Flare. That's really their primary source of crowd control right now. So it affected it.
I mean, that being said, TSM still with a nice gold lead here, and they're going to start pressuring this inner turret. Curse a little bit too slow to defend it, but they might go for a counter engage because they have the ultimate back from Wukong.
There it is. That does not miss that time, but Dominate says we need to counter initiate right now. It may not have been the best for them. Dominate goes down. Boy follows quickly after. It's a double kill for Bjergsen. They are still looking for blood.
Difference this time, they're able to get the first attack there onto Dominate, and once one person starts hitting that Wukong, the rest of the team realizes, hey, he's got a Black Cleaver. He's not that tanky. Yes, he has some health, but his resistances aren't there yet. They're able to blow him up, and after the point man is gone from Curse's team fight, they decide they have to back off and give up the turret.
Turret for that, pretty much for the Dragon that just went down, we saw Curse was able to grab. So the gold, still 5,000 gold in favor of TSM, however, here at 22 minutes. They have grabbed now 4 turrets as the map just continues to open up. And it's only going to be warded even deeper. Since the start of the game, TSM has been putting the deep wards in. Dyrus was using it to farm. See if they can keep it going.
The rotation there from TSM, and Bjergsen recalling with the top minion wave walking right by him gives Curse the go-ahead to answer turret. So, yes, they lost the fight, 2 kills, and they lost their turret, but at least they were able to answer with 1 outer.
A lot more teams have been playing the minion waves more strategically, being in the right spot at the right time. Sometimes in Boda, we'd see a team fight 1, and minions are just coming out of your base, so you can't go anywhere with it.
Yeah, the map movements have become just so important in these games. We saw earlier today, CLG winning their game even without kills until like 23 minutes in because the map movements are what have been getting these teams the objectives there. And TSM gave a little bit too much information back to Curse after that fight that allowed Curse to be confident in their call to shove up mid.
We can see a few recipe items being thrown in there. The Negatron cloak coming in
for
Boy. He doesn't want to get taken out by Bjergsen. He's felt that a few too many times this game. Dominate is trying to do whatever he can, but they need to spread those kills out. A 4-kill Wukong, even more, isn't going to be the one to carry your team.
Well, you can see everybody that is getting money is purchasing a Negatron cloak. Everybody's trying to get some magic resist for themselves. They're not building even the aura. They're going straight Negatron cloaks. Everybody needs their own to protect themselves from the Bjergsen assassination.
Got to consider that Cop had the chance to go Caitlyn this game, but decided to go Lucian for pretty much the first time.
Yeah, I mean, I was talked about the first pick Annie there and the combo of Lucian plus Annie being real popular. I just think it's a bit stronger of a lane, and since they're going for this sort of team fight oriented composition, Lucian able to move around and do a bit more burst damage than Caitlyn. She's really more focused on the tower pushing and the very late game, just auto attack heavy.
The TSM is being pretty big bullies right now. They're saying we can easily get in here, clear this out, and force the fight. They want to force this fight, and it looks like Talisman of Ascension goes. Actually, that was on the hunt from Sivir, and it's going to be Wukong going in, dominate to the back line. The culling spreads across 3 on the front line. Odd1 is able to take down Zcat, and the health bars are almost matched, but it's a squad of Curse in the top side by Wraiths, able to take down Odd1. They focused down on the rest of the team, and it was 2 split in the jungle.
Woo, just the 1-for-1.
Yeah.
But gold medal goes to Zekint right there, because these fights are all about the initiation. TSM popped their on the hunt. They were running straight into that bush, and Zekint gets his AoE stun off, combos it with the ultimate from I Will Dominate here, because he immediately turns around here. They make the call. 4 members. Then it sets up Dominate for his ulti onto Wild Turtle and Bjergsen, the 2 carries of TSM. Whenever you see LeBlanc having to use her R to exit the fight, it's a very good sign for your team, and you can follow that up. But they were only able to trade kills in the end, so not a huge amount gained for Curse, even though it was very well coordinated.
Another 80 HP, and they would have had all that shutdown gold on Bjergsen, so thumbs up for him getting out on that. Now has his home guards, and he's actually already putting money into his elixirs. They know they're pretty well off right now, and they can take those chances.
A huge thing about that elixir, not only the ability power, but the cooldown reduction is so big on LeBlanc. Talked about if she has to use her R for exit, then it's a huge chunk of her power that won't be there to execute someone, and that's why the initiations for both of these teams are so important, because you don't want to have to use those cooldowns defensively.
We see Cop just finishing up that Phage into the Trinity for us. He bought the Phage and then, got enough money in the instances they were fighting with the dragons. Built a Bloodthirster in between the recipes. So he finishes those 2 items. TSM grabbing up a dragon. The second one for them in the matchup. And that's that 26-minute dragon we were talking about. The last one went to Curse, so good job by TSM to have map control.
Yeah, that build you're talking about on Cop goes right into the same sort of idea behind picking Lucian instead of Caitlyn there. He's got the mobility from Trinity Force. Because these are going to be such brawly fights, he's going to have to rely on mobility and lifesteal to survive through them. You want to be a traditional AD carry who stands back, because you'll get dove on by this Olaf. An Olaf sped up by Sivir and a Shyvana is going to get to your AD carry.
Yep.
He's going to have to fend for himself in that situation. That's really what Cop is thinking about right now.
We can see that Xpecial is thinking about himself as well. We had Merc Tread last game on Leona. Now it's going to be the Ninja Tabi from all this AD they're facing. Dominate trying to jump in. Void as well, so really trying to mitigate everything they can and give themselves the upper hand. Already 7,000 gold. I'm sure that's a big enough of a power play for them.
This is a dangerous bush to be in.
Seek out by Cop. They need to play it safe. They're not even getting in range for wards. They're using everything else that they can.
I mean, double pink wards is a really good purchase here from TSM. They actually have 2 more in the inventory, so everybody's really doing their part in the vision war. And they're trying to make Curse make one of those positional errors, come into the bad spot. Oopsies, I touched Baron.
Oh, they could get Zcat. Will he get Timbers off in this one? He turns around. He only gets it off on 2. A great ultimate by Dominate, but is it going to be enough without the follow-up of Curse there? 3 members on to Dominate. A dash over the wall from Bjergsen to safety as Cop does what he can from the back line, and it's only Quaz to peel for him. TSM gets the fight they want.
I love how the odd one just pops his Ragnarok and runs straight at Zekint, because you can't stun Olaf off of you, and he ends up having to burn that Tibbers not to stop any damage here. So there goes Odd One, right for Zekint. Here, let's see if the Tibbers actually hits anyone besides Olaf. He doesn't stun any. Oh yeah, he did get 2. There we go.
Yep.
Never mind. He stunned the backline. So that was a really good job by Zekint keeping his cool, even though he had an Olaf banging on his head.
And they didn't even have the real initiation there. They had to on the hunt. They had the solar flare. They reached for it. These guys are hungry right now, and they just want to close this out.
I mean, it's those split-second decisions right there. I didn't even see the sun come out the first time around, but it was a good job keeping his cool there. But it was initiate too much from TSM. They were able to get to the back lines, and Bjergsen, like I said, able to use all of his cooldowns offensively that time around.
You were mentioning those 2 pink wards before placed and then more purchased. Those have been there since every time TSM has started to kind of contest the Baron. It's only been Curse on their side of the court, I'd say for the past 9-10 minutes, and it's not making it easy for them to come back.
Now that it's a Baroned up TSM and Elixired up, it's going to be even more difficult because they've got the capabilities to swarm under a turret even and go for the kills. Oh, wow.
Oh, whoa. Doing out of Quaz. All the HP of the Deathfire Grass really working together. It's going to be the kill. A shutdown going on to Bjergsen finally. That's big gold for Dominant, but we already have 5 kills on him. Trying to get out. They are going to be able to take him down in the end. They wanted the retribution kill for Bjergsen in his first death, and it is back and forth. Voyboy kind of teeter-tottering on whether he wants to go in or not. It means his life. Cop still doing what he can, and these guys may be baiting themselves into too much.
So Bjergsen, he got a huge chunk out of Quas with that aggressive play, and he also got the whole Wukong ultimate burned on him. So Wukong ultimate only hitting one person, it wasn't really the combo that Curse were looking for. Yes, they took out his high priority target, but since their team was stretched out, they couldn't keep up that pressure. And TSM rolling towards the inhib.
Just flexing their muscles right in front of this inhibitor. Easily able to take down that turret. Cop could be next here. They don't want to get caught up by Z-Kent and anybody spawning. It's only 4 seconds on Voyboy, and everybody else is already coming off the fountain. So as we check out the scoreboard, it is 13-7. The kills really not slowing down. 54,000 to 43. That gold lead still going up for TSM.
Yeah, that's just, it's such a tough choice. You definitely want to burn everything you have to kill Bjergsen, and when he overcommits like that, and I think I still like that call to kill off Bjergsen because he's such a huge part of the team. And then it might have just been on Voyboy going a little bit too aggressive in the second half of that fight that costs Curse an extra kill.
So the Zanya is the right choice with the dive from Wukong. But what's your bet on Bjergsen's? Oh, it's a Rabadon's. I was going to say, you think he's just going to buy damage? Sure, why not?
He wants to make sure that he can kill his target. You saw him right there go all in on Quas, not able to finish him off there. He wants to be able to get that, not just a giant chunk out of his life, but actually get the gold from his kill.
If you can't get a full Cyclone off, then you can't kill me. That's perfect. 6-3 in turrets. That means Curse is scrambling for 1 gold that's sitting on the map they don't have yet, and that's going to create more vision for them, which they're still losing out on. TSM putting those deep wards in the jungle, which is pretty much owned by them at this point. And we're going to wait for TSM to initiate next. They haven't been having any trouble doing that.
We just saw how much things can go poorly if you don't have vision when you play super aggressive. Bjergsen's looking for these solo kills here and these opportunities to pick members of Curse off. In order to do that, they're going to need to keep up all of this vision that they've invested in.
Open inhibitor as they set up to do some damage. It doesn't really look like Wild Turtle can get in range just yet. You see him going towards the top side of that turret to give himself some more defense. The teams are pretty much face-to-face right now, but it's just that roundabout circle. Nobody really wants to connect if you don't have to.
It's so big when you get an inhibitor down with one of these teams that's not really a siege comp or not really a poke comp, because you don't have that easy access sieging up around these inhibitor turrets. Having that one door open does wonders for this team. And so because they got that Baron buff, they're really just going to look to clean up the rest of the money on the map before they have to return. They've got guaranteed pressure up in the top. It allows them to freely get the rest of the resources that are available to them.
It's only going to get harder and harder as that gold grows with the Dragon. 3 of those in favor of TSM now, with the Baron in their favor. They have Giants belts coming out on a special. Everybody's kind of not buying beyond their means, but getting more than they need right now.
Yeah, and they've actually, because they had so much map control with all the waves pushed up and the inhibitor down, it opens up the opportunity for them to split up as a team. They don't have to stay together. They got multiple things done at the same time. They got a dragon at the same time as blue buff for Bjergsen, and then the rest of the members were setting up a bush gank just in case. They don't have to all be doing the same thing right now. They were able to split up and get multiple things done at the same time. Meanwhile, Curse just have to clear waves and stay inside their base.
Bjergsen's done a great job of keeping LeBlanc going, not allowing himself to fall off. Keeps his farm at 253, near the highest in the game, just for being able to have that AP AoE damage on clearing some of these waves. Obviously, the ADs and the tops have surpassed that, and they are trying to be huge for their team. Mainly right now, Quaz, really the main tank. We said that Wukong was built, or Dominate rather, building all that damage. May have hurt them really.
Smiley face from Cop. He's still happy. All they have to do is continually clear waves. Yes, one inhibitor down is huge because there's an open door and TSM can return to that top lane when it respawns, but it's not 2 inhibitors down. Like, you can still hold pretty easily from 1 inhibitor down. It's just up to TSM to load armor onto one person, either the odd one or on Dyrus, and then that will enable them to go for the dive.
The Affinity Edge being finished out. A great Solar Flare over. TSM loves diving this middle turret. It looks like they will go full on and back behind. 3 kills coming out very fast, and it goes across the board. Dominate looking to get himself out of this situation, but it's a double kill for Wild Turtle as he hunts him down. And it looks like they're going to go straight for the Nexus.
Well, they've loaded up enough armor. They go for the dive right there. Zeke trying to counter-initiate. He gets the stun onto multiple members, but Wild Turtle spell shielded it.
Great game by Team SoloMid. Bjergsen really working the LeBlanc in middle. Everybody else very strong in their lanes, and TSM is going to pick up a win here on the 3rd day of Super Week. Much more control. It really just looked like they did exactly what Reggie said. Go in there and do what you need to do.
Yeah, both of them sort of had similar strategies. They wanted to fight because they both had area of effect, but TSM chose the champions that were going to win their lanes early. By default, Shyvana early against Mundo, that's a thumbs up there from Dyrus. A Bjergsen LeBlanc versus the Voyboy Riven, that's another thumbs up. So those two should be ahead early. And then all that the odd one had to do was hard farm his jungle because, Dominate took him a while to get that good Cyclone on.
It seems that when the Riven matchup comes out, didn't work too well against Kale. We saw it last game not work against LeBlanc. Voyboy tried his hand on it. But that's the thing, they forced Voyboy into that. They got some bans out, they took the Akali out right away, and then Voyboy still tried to play a champion that he could carry the team on. And that level 2 LeBlanc just kind of cancels out Riven if you get that next minion of the wave and you hit it first.
It really does seem like it all went according to plan for TSM. As their coach said, they just had to keep calm and play their game, ban out the weird things. Like we said, Riven into LeBlanc, I don't think we're going to see a lot more of that. Because we've already shown 2 times in a row now, LeBlanc coming out pretty big in that matchup.
And that's one of the things the teams are going to have to watch out for with the meta that moves around. How are you going to stop that? You have to get the wards out before that period of the game. Because what was it? TSM, we said, was warding red buff and was warding the Wraith camp to keep Dyrus safe right at 8 minutes of proxy farming. And
he did a good job. I mean, as Shyvana, he was able to pull up the jungler, at least get a little bit of jungle vision on Dominate. Just those few instances when he saw jungler top allowed his bottom lane, that wasn't the one lane that was going to inherently win, allowed them to play more aggressively and then by default get more gold because they're getting the harass off as well as the farming.
Another thing that played into the role of unfortunately, the loss was how good Dominate played, or at least the fact that he was grabbing the kills because they weren't spread out enough among the team. The economy just wasn't there for the rest of the players.
So when you do rely on those double AoE CCs for your team composition, then you really need to have them work out. And he had some really good Wukong ults.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, bottom lane, they were able to get that first kill. It was beautiful. But if the other team play smart in the end game and they spread out, makes it really hard for you to repeat success with those combos.